Hey everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Amy and I post new videos every week. Today's video I am very excited about because I finally got my hands on some PHYTOSURGENCE products. Excuse the swatches on my hand, you'll see that later. I have seen them all over Instagram for a while now and I've been dying to try them because everything that they post and that people post about them looks so delicious. And I was like, this is completely up my alley. It's like dewy and mixy and it's like Salt New York and M Cosmetics and you know what I mean, it's Tower 28. It's like all of those small indie brands. Like they are really piquing my interest with the things that they are doing, the things that they are posting. They've got their finger on my pulse. I don't know about the pulse of the industry, but my pulse for sure has been fingered on. Oh, anyways, we're gonna ignore that I just said that, and or I'm gonna delete it out of the video. And yeah, I don't know, there's a lot to talk about today. I'm gonna show you some footage of me putting these things on in sunlight. I'm gonna put them on in this light here and create this look with you. I'm gonna do a bunch of swatch comparisons to some other things in my collection, so if that sounds like something you're into, please give this a thumbs up so I know that you like this kind of content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. My lighting is so weird today because it's actually it's like overcast, but the sun keeps peeking through very strongly, so I've closed my blind, so I think it looks a little bit gloomier than normal, but it's fine. We're gonna move on. Yes, Amber, I'm touching my hair. Now every time I touch my hair, I'm gonna be thinking of you. Okay, first I want to go into the blush. So I got this shade, this is called Skin Spark. I got the shade Fume. These are quite small. They are like the size of like potted eyeshadows. But look at this color. Isn't it gorgeous? The texture of these is kind of moussey. Okay, for the brush side, I'm gonna just go into what is on my hand here and kind of do this. And it blends to this like super beautiful. So see how soft it is once you've got it like into your bristles. It is pigmented, but if you like work it into your brush first, it's like the simplest way not to go overboard. Look at that. Such a pretty like red undertoned mauve. It's very weird. Like it gives me purple, but it also gives me like red. So quite interesting. I do have a little bit of a contour on, but no bronzer. So there it is without, boop. And then I'm gonna go into my sponge. And actually for my sponge, I'm gonna do kind of the same thing. I'm gonna take the side of my sponge and tap it in just like I did my finger, and then go onto my hand to kind of evenly spread that out. And then go on the face. And then I'm going to take the side where I used for my concealer and go around the edges. Really good everyday shade for me, honestly. Like it looks very at home on my skin. I really like it. I am wearing like a skin tint today, so there is some glow from that, but this is more, I would consider it like a soft skin-like finish. Do you see how it's got like a little tiny bit of that reflect in there, but it is also just a very soft, blurred kind of finish. I really, really like this product. Now this next product here is their Spectral Shine Divine Daylight. This is the thing that I saw all over Instagram and I was like, I need that. I don't know, I don't understand it. My brain cannot understand it, but I need it so very much. But what's so weird about this is you see people who have used this up on Instagram and it looks like a putty, right? But look, this is hard as a rock. Like, I don't understand. This product makes no sense to me. Like, it feels like I'm touching a cream, but it also feels like I'm just touching a stone. Like, it's not, I'm pushing as hard as I can, and it's this, like, here, I'll give you it's not even, do you see it on my finger? Like, here's a normal finger, here's the finger with it on it. It's got this glow to it. I thought it was like a highlighter type product, but I don't know what it is. I did buy the brush that you're supposed to go with it, and it barely comes off on the brush, but it's fine. So I'm gonna swirl quite hard, and I'm gonna show you it. Look at how weird this is. I don't know if you can see it. Come here. Do you see the glow on my hand? No glow. You can, like, the translucency of my hand, you can see my veins. This gave like a little bit. Do you see that now? The difference? It is the most unique thing I've ever experienced. Like, it's so weird. So it is doing that on my skin, but as I said, I'm wearing a skin tint, so I'm already quite glowy. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's like this soft blur, and I thought this shade was going to be a little bit too dark for me, but I don't think that it is. I'm going to have to keep playing with this one, but this one is the one that I'm most perplexed by for sure. Okay, let's get to the eyes. Oh, by the way, this is the brush, the Sky Buff brush, which is like recommended to go with that, and it is a very soft brush, but it has like varying, it reminds me, like the way that it's cut, the way the bristles are cut kind of reminds me of my e.l.f. 105. Like, not the shape of it, but the way the bristles are. I don't know how to explain that to you. Where they're kind of uneven to give you kind of like a duo fiber situation, to where it's a very soft blend. But this one has less density than the e.l.f. brush, so it's really good for that like soft swiping motion. Let's move on to these eyeshadows. These are what I'm most excited about, and what I've been most excited about, because these look so beautiful on every swatch, every person's eyeball. On PHYTOSURGENCE's Instagram, they share like tons of people, like real life people that purchase these and put them on, kind of thing, you know, on their stories, so you can see it on different skin types, skin tones, skin textures, and stuff like that. I got Magnetic Maple and Chilled Cherry. These are the Flash Fluorescence eyeshadows, and they are similar because this is from the Weathered Woods collection, and it's kind of just like a grungy collection in general. So they're similar in that manner, but they do have different like tones to them. So let me show you just the product. This one is Chilled Cherry. You can see it's a little bit more rosy in the pot. And this one's Magnetic Maple, a little bit more neutral. Like, it feels like you're not picking up anything. You don't dig into these. These aren't moussey like the blush. They're a lot more of a firm product, but it's such a thin formula that you're picking up a lot and you don't even realize it. Now you can see Magnetic Maple is like this neutrally taupe with like a silver flip to it, and then Chilled Cherry is this super rosy color with like a gunmetal situation going on. Do you see? Ugh. And the reflect on these is so beautiful. There is no sparkly glitters in these ones. It's just this like smooth metallic. Ugh. I'm gonna go in with Chilled Cherry first, because I feel like this warmth blends into my skin tone a little bit better. When I go into just the cool toned one, I find that it looks a little too harsh between my skin and the cool toned color, if that makes sense. So this is the color Chilled Cherry that I want to blend into my crease, so that's what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to just lightly go. Now I'm being messy because I am going to go in and blend, but I just want to show you kind of what it looks like when you use your finger. And my eye is watering, so it's like catching over here, so that's what that's about. So I'm going to take my NYX number 16 brush, and I'm going to just swirl in here. And it feels like it's not picking up anything, but it does pick up stuff. And then I'm going to go where I'd like it to be kind of the darkest so I can get more of the pigment there and blend like that. And it's actually like, you see how much smoother it made right here. It's kind of nuts how much is picked up on the brush and you don't even realize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off my brush so I can go into the crease because I don't want to bring any more pigment up into the crease. And then I'm going to start at the edge and just slightly blend that up to the brow. So ignore like the very outer corner because that's where my eye is watering and it's messing everything up. But you can see how nice and evenly it blends up. I don't think it looks as even on camera, probably because of my veinage, because I didn't use concealer or anything. But in person, this looks completely seamless to me. So that's what I'm taking it to be. But as you can see, it only has the warmth kind of in the matte shade, whereas the metallic is quite like cool toned, grungy. I'm not getting a lot of the warmth showing through, at least on my skin tone. I said I wanted to go in with the chilled cherry so that it matched my skin tone a little bit better. Another thing you can do if you find that an eyeshadow is just like a little bit too cool toned is just go in with your bronzer. And I prefer going in with bronzer over blush because your bronzer is typically closer to your skin tone than your blush would be. And then just go in, and I feel like that helps to connect it to your skin a little bit too. So I feel like you can see that just adding a little bit of bronzer here kind of brought that back. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just to finish up the lower lash, I'm going to go in with a smaller brush into Chilled Cherry because I just feel like it's way too dark on top for me not to have the same on the bottom, you know? Now, I'm going to take the Magnetic Maple with my finger and just put it right on top in the center. Can you see that? I think you can tell. I think you can tell. I'm gonna go all the way to the inner corner. It's very subtle. But here, I'll go. So here's with Magnetic Maple and here's just Chilled Cherry. Yeah, I think you can see the difference there. So there are the colors on my eyes. They're really easy to work with. Now, obviously these ones are pretty dark colors, but this was part of their fall collection. They do have lighter, brighter colors too. I think this formula is super interesting and unique and like very, very pretty. And I also wore them all day yesterday when I did that footage. And there was no creasing. Like, I was shocked because my eyes crease over everything. Creasing is not a big deal for me. Like, I don't care if things crease. Like, as long as it looks good when my eyes are open, I don't care what it looks like when my eyes are closed. It's none of my business. So you usually won't hear me talking about that when I rate, like, or talk about eyeshadow palettes because it's not a factor to me. I don't care. I try to mention it sometimes because I know other people care, you know? So that's why I'm mentioning it here. I noticed, because I did my wear test yesterday, that there was like no creasing, which is really shocking for such a creamy formula, but it's so thin. But it definitely feels like, when I'm blending it out, I don't know if you noticed, but I definitely was like choking up on my brush, like higher on my brush to get a little bit more friction, a little bit more aggression in there, because it does act kind of like a cream, but in a very easy way. I don't know. So I'm gonna go off camera and put on mascara and maybe a lip product, and I'll be right back. Hold on. We're back with more breaking news. Before we get into like swatch comparisons of the eyeshadow colors, let's do a really quick rundown. There's only 4 products. It will take 4 seconds for me to do this. So the blush, I absolutely love it. If you like something, it's kind of similar to, I want to say maybe like the Rose Ink blush. It's a little bit stiffer. It's a little bit more moussey. It's not as like emollient and creamy and melty as the Milk Cosmetics or the Tower 28 ones are. in my opinion. This one is a little bit more of a matte finish, almost kind of like the Rare Beauty Compact, those blushes as well. I really like it. It's got like this blurring quality to it that I really like, and I really like the color Fume, so I would recommend that. The eyeshadows, I would highly recommend. Obviously, okay, I don't think that you would need these two colors together. I do think that they are quite similar, but if I wore them like as single shadows, you know what I mean? Like working together, they don't do a lot for each other. But if I wore them on their own with other things, I do think that they do different things. So I think there is enough of a difference. If you are really into this kind of thing and you just need different undertones, then yes. But I personally probably didn't need to get both of these shades. I didn't know which one to pick. I couldn't not, I just had to get two. But this will probably be the thing that is the hardest for me not to pick up more shades. I'm going to try not to, or at least hold out for a little while, you know? But I might get one of the lighter, brighter shades to wear as something more every day. Like, I feel like this is totally fine for every day, but it is definitely a little bit deeper, a little bit more fall, autumn, winter time, whereas we're in spring and summer. So I'm going to try to hold out, but you might see another shade of this soon. I don't know. I haven't purchased this yet. I know it sounds like I have, but I haven't. And then the Spectral Shine. I'm so confused by this. I don't know. I don't know my feelings on this. Like, I love it, but I don't know. So I might have to try it with other kinds of foundations, since this foundation is pretty glowy. It might be just hard to see it on this foundation, you know? I'm going to keep using this, and I will update you in a later video when I have a better idea of how I feel about it. At this moment, I have no clue. I don't have an opinion on this yet. That's how I feel. Okay, so when I saw these shades, I was like, you know what? These are my kinds of shades. These are so much my kind of shades. I bet I have other shades in my collection similar to them. Also, after I made this purchase, Miss Hannah Louise posted an entire PHYTOSURGENCE video, and I was like, I normally don't like to watch things that I'm going to try out, but I don't feel like this is like a new review. It's just like new to me, you know, something that everyone has talked about and I needed to get my hands on. So I don't feel like this is a review that needed to stay only my view. So as Hannah was talking about the formula and talking about how thin it is and how it feels like nothing has been picked up, it immediately made me think of this Giorgio Armani Eyes to Kill. I have the shade Stellar, so this shade does not match, and the formula, it really isn't the same. Like, when she described it, I thought of this, but this one is much more... Here, hold on. Like, I can press my finger into it, but as you can see, it's in a pot. It's quite similar in that way. It is very, very thin, but it picks up a lot. But this one isn't as stiff, and this one has glitters in it. I'm gonna just swatch this on my arm and not next to those shades because it's not a dupe. It's definitely a warmer tone shade, and it has tons of silver glitters in it. I love this one. If you're into this kind of thing, this is a beautiful single shadow. It feels similar on my finger, but the feeling of this is different. Hope that makes sense. And then the next one that I was like, okay, well, let's talk about the Ulta Bouncy shadows, because that too is that, but that's almost similar to this, where like I can make an imprint in there. Like, I can press into this one. This is more putty like, but it is still a very thin formula that picks up a lot. This shade, again, is lighter and warmer. I'm sorry, I'm like swatching it on this side. There we go. And then obviously, if I was going to pull that out, I had to pull out the M Cosmetics Cosmic Pearl Shadow in Moonrise. But this one is way, 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 way more of a wet formula. And as you can see, there's like every single time you touch it, you dig into it a little bit. Oh my god. And look, like I picked up way too much here. I would say the M Cosmetics one has like the same kind of effect, where it's got like the shade and then the shine, so where these have like a shade and then a shine, if that makes sense. Like it's not actually a duochrome because it is like the same tone, but it's duo something, duo texture. Those are the texture, the similar textures in my collection that came to mind, but as you can see, none of them are really the same color. So then I got into my head like, okay, well, where do I have the same color? Because I'm sure I do. So I pulled out several palettes. So let's go first into the Milani Soft and Sultry right here. And then I was thinking this color, Come Hither. It is these are very soft metallics, and it's got that like cool toned look to it. Oh gosh, I don't know. Let's try to do it on my hand. So here's the Milani one. I'm gonna go right here. Okay. So this one may be closer to Chilled Cherry. Chilled Cherry still has like maybe a little bit more purple. This one's a little bit warmer, but very, very similar effect. And then I pulled out Colourpop, that's Taupe. We've got, I was thinking Snake Eyes at first, but I think that shade is too light. So I'm gonna go into Cold Blooded right here. Looks a little bit more like neutrally cool toned, like in that gray family. And I'm gonna put that right next to the Milani one. Now Cold Blooded does have sparkle in it. It's not as deep, and it actually does still have a little bit more warmth, but again, kind of similar vibe. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you were looking for a similar vibe, or if you wanted to know, like, is this color what I think that it's like? You know what I mean? I don't know if you're like this, but sometimes when I'm online shopping, I am looking for a color that I already have in my collection and maybe a new texture, a new formula, something like that. So I wanted to give you these for that reason, not to be a dupe to hinder you from buying these. Like, sure, if you think that these will satisfy you, don't buy these. But also, if you were looking for a color similar to this, then, you know, you got this kind of vibe. This one is my favorite discontinued palette. It is the Pat McGrath, what is it? Mothership Subliminal Platinum Bronze. This, oh golly, love this so much. I'm gonna pick up, you know, I'll pick up these two right here, which I don't know what they are. I don't have the little card. She doesn't put the names on her palettes. She puts like a little card inside of them, and I don't know where that went. So these are those two. The darker one maybe. Oh no, it's too dark. Oof, these colors are so pretty. I love this palette so much. Okay, so here's the darker one. I would say it's actually almost similar to the Milani one. It's got more of a brown base to it, and then the lighter one has got more of like a gold, like an antique gold situation. So I would still think these two are a little bit closer to what you're getting. Next, I pulled out the Nabla Side by Side palette, and here's the palette, and here are my swatches. I was thinking maybe Love Ritual would be a good one. Here. So this is the one right here. I feel like this is almost the perfect mix of these two colors together. Like the reflect is a little bit more silvery like here, but the base of it is very close to this. I think it is a little bit more rich and a little bit more red, but super similar vibe. And then I picked out of my collection the BH Cosmetics Love in London palette. Oh god, this palette is so gorgeous. The shade Prestige right here. It does look a little bit light, but it is the most like neutral out of these. That looks pretty promising, I say. Let's go here. Oh. Okay, so again, it is still a little bit more warm, but I'd say it lives in the same family, like kind of between these two and this one, like right in there. I obviously have a type, you guys. You see, that's why I wanted to do this, because I knew that I had like similar-ish kind of shades. And then the last one is a single shadow from Makeup Geek, RIP. And it is the shade Prom Night. And it's like a satin shadow. It's not, I don't know, maybe it's metallic. And I'm gonna put it on top of my hand, hold on. So I put that one on top because I think it is super similar to the cherry color. I will say this one is a little bit more of like a smooth satin, like I said, whereas this is much more of a reflective metallic texture. Yeah, I hope you understand why I wanted to do those swatches. I felt like they might be helpful in helping you see the colors next to other similar colors and their differences and stuff like that. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so much. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!